Literally, and there's, oh, the tiny babies are here. The tiny cubs are here as well. Look at how cute they are. That's so cool. There's the Nkuhuma Pride and the tiny cubs are just in the back. Look how little they are. They're so small. Hey guys. So this is the first time that we've seen them with the Pride. How cool is this? That's so special. Look at them, they're still a little bit kind of, what's going on? So little fluffy, and you realize how little they are in comparison to the rest of the Pride. Look at the rest of them. There's the sub-adults. So those little cubs, it's hard to think that those sub-adults a year ago were the same size as those little cubs. Oh, so cool, man. That's so magical. Hey guys. So the little ones are a little kind of wary. Well, two of them. One doesn't care at all. One is sitting watching us. But two of them are a little bit more on the wary side. Just checking out what's going on. But how cute are those little cubs? Hey, little one. Rebecca, you say they are so tiny, and look how fluffy they are too. They are so cute. Lion cubs are one of the cutest things out here. They tend to be kind of full of fur, and they've got these sweet little faces, and it's hard to think, like I say, that if they're males, they'll end up being these 250 kilogram brutes when they're this small, but hopefully they will. And isn't it amazing that they're still doing fine? We were talking yesterday that the female was still producing milk. Oh, look at that face. Is that not sweet? This is just so cool. You're relieved that all three are safe. Well, like I say, yesterday when we saw that female and she was still producing milk and still had the suckle marks, we knew that these cubs must still be alive. But obviously you never know how many cubs. So the fact that all three are here is a very special thing. And the nice thing is that they've moved, it looks like she's moved the den closer towards the camp. This is the drainage line that runs towards WildEarthTV camp. So I wonder if this is where they've now moved the little ones, and these little ones, you see the two off exploring on the right there, Sev? They're going down the hill towards the drainage line. Where are you two off to? This is slightly more brave. It looks like a little male in front that's waddling along. It's difficult to see nicely, but it looks like a little male. Here's the front one leading the way, and off they go into the thicket. How cute is that as they dodder along? Too sweet. Paula, you're wondering how old these cubs are. Paula, just judging by their size, they're still little. I would say maybe 6 weeks is what I would give them. So still tiny little things. They are going to still grow quite a bit. So we can start, and yesterday I was actually talking about it, is that they're starting to get to 6-7 weeks old, and we can start viewing them now from about this time. So now that they also come towards the Pride, it's much better for us. It means that we can actually follow up and try and look for them a lot more. The first 6 weeks we try and avoid the area as much as possible, try and avoid that female. But when they're with the Pride like this, and you can see they're quite relaxed, they're not running for cover or not scared of us in any way. So, especially not this one. This one is super chilled. And so it's a good sign. It means that we should start getting more frequent sightings of the Nkuhuma Pride over the next little bit. It's really a wonderful thing to see, and I hope that these little ones will survive. They are so cute, but they are still very small, and like I say, 6 weeks is probably my guess. Maybe even 5 weeks. Maybe 6 weeks, now that I see them kind of walking around. Yeah, as you're wondering if I'm able to determine their sex yet, it's difficult. You've got to kind of see underneath the tail and see them quite close. So tough to say what this little one is until it turns around and sees the tail. But I'm sure I saw the first one that went down into that drainage looked like a little boy, but I could be wrong. We'll have to just wait and see, and time will tell. As time goes on, we're going to get a better idea of whether or not they are boys or girls, and as we get more sightings and we can see their little back ends and them lying on their backs and maybe with their legs sort of open, we'll be able to decide or see whether they're males or females. Hopefully, though, there is a couple females in there, because it will just strengthen the Nkuhuma Pride even more. Remember, the Nkuhuma Pride, because they've done so well with these sub-adults, these ones in picture now, there's 5 of those, so in theory we should have a 10-member pride in the next little bit. So the 5 females hopefully will stay with the 5 adults, and we'll end up with a 10 female pride, which is massive, because you can imagine if 10 females have cubs, then you can have a situation where, you know, 9, or let's say 8 or 9 of them have an average of 3 cubs. You can work out, do the maths, how quickly that pride becomes over 20. It's an amazing sort of way that things grow. Here comes looks like the younger female. I think she's going to go, listen. Oh, she's going to pick it up. Look, she's picking it up and she's taking it. Where are you taking your little cub? Look how it tucks its little tail in. How cute is that? That is just too awesome, guys. It is one of those things that I always want to see, is when the mother carries her cub like that. It's just incredible. Now, a lot of you may think that hurts, but it doesn't. The mother is being so gentle. She's just lifting it gently with her mouth and carrying it off into the den site. So she's taking it to an area that she wants to keep them, which is really cool news. I wonder if the other 2 are going to come bounding towards where Mom is, but look where she's going. It's dense, it's thick. That's an area that is great for little little lion cubs. She can try and hide them inside there, and nobody's really going to pick them up from that area. How sweet was that, though, that she picked it up? It looks like she's putting it down where she is there in the thicket in the background. It's difficult to see her, but it looks that way. Yaz, you asking what's the maximum distance that a cub will stray from its mother? Looks like the rest of the pride's also going to get up and start moving in that general vicinity. But it depends on the age. When they're young like this, not far. You can see, so that mother woke up when she saw the other 2 disappearing down into the drainage line and then went that way. So she's immediately realized these cubs are getting a little far from me, and it went and fetched them. And that distance is not even 25 meters. And she's decided, nope, I need to go and intervene here and start moving them into a safer place and not out in the open like they were. So she's now taken them deeper into thickets, and you can see one of the other adult lionesses has gone that way. What is interesting is that I can only see 3 adult females, sorry. The rest don't seem to be here. So there's 2 adult females that I can't see at the moment. They might be tucked around the bush somewhere. There's one of the adult females. I don't see the female with the injury at this stage. I'm sure she's around, but I just don't see her at this stage, also here. But how wonderful is this? So special. We have been absolutely spoilt by seeing those little cubs. It is a very, very, very unique thing to see. And I can see they just in the thickets, there's no point looking, but from where I can see, I can just see a little bit of light moving through those Tambuti thickets, and it looks like she's going deeper south, which is great, because that's back towards our area. Now, why have you all lifted your heads? Is there something behind us?
That I can see.
I wonder if maybe the Birmingham males aren't at Tambuti Dam. We're just south of the dam. It could be maybe the Tambuti males the Birmingham males and some of the Nkuhumas are north of us at the dam. That could be what's happening, and that's why they're looking in that area. So cool. I'm gonna just roll back a little bit because I just want to see if we can get a view up the drainage and also behind us, because there is definitely something that alerted the cubs to behind us, and there is water behind us. So I think maybe, just maybe, the rest of the cubs are around that side. Yeah, I can see some of them up in the thicket as well. Let's just go through down to the drainage line. Maybe we can get a view up the drainage line. Now it sounds like one of the leopards is also at Twin Dams, so one of our 2 boys is at Twin Dams from yesterday, which is good news as well. So you can see there's a bit of, this is a perfect place for a den site. Here's the lioness with the cubs close here. She's not far. Seb, I'm just going to turn slightly. There she's picking up another one of the cubs and taking it deeper into the drainage. There she goes. Look, she's going up the hill with it. Come, you're not going that far away. You need to go back. Don't be naughty. Into the thicket you go. It's difficult to see her, I know, behind all the branches, but she's heading up towards a fallen over log. So I think there might be a hole in that log that she's putting them. I can hear another one squeaking, and there's a little bit of aggression amongst some of the others up at the top there. So we don't have much of a visual, but Seb, I'm sure she's going to come back for the third cub, so we're just going to wait for a little bit. White Lady Un, you're wondering how often do lions have three cubs at a time? Fairly regularly. It's not that uncommon. The average is generally 4, but you'll see 1, 2, 3, 5, 7. The most I've seen is 7, but it's very kind of random and very sort of spread out. And sometimes, like I say, 3 is what is had. We know that Styx Pride has had 3 a few times, and it's not an uncommon thing at all. Here she comes, Seb, I think she's calling the last one, which is just disappearing into the thicket there. It's so difficult to see. She's carrying 1, and 2 of them are following her deeper into the thicket. There we go, running along into the thicket. You got a glimpse of them. I know exactly where we need to head to be able to see them. So, look at their little tracks on the road, Seb. You see in front here. They're tiny. So just on the edge of the road on the right side in the tire track is a little paw print. No, go up a little bit. Up. There it is. Look at how little it is. So just over there, Seb, is where the paw print is. That's a tiny little lion cub paw print. That's so cute, man. Alright, I'm going to try and just move a little bit because we can't see much of the lions now. They've disappeared. That is so sweet. They are minute little things. Cute, man. The lioness is with the cubs. She's taking them deep into the bush now. So I'm not going to follow her in there. At least we know roughly where the den is. I'd rather spend time with the Pride and not hassle her and go crashing through thickets in an attempt to kind of follow her, because at the end of the day, I don't want her to stress, and it's her first litter she's had. So I want her to just relax and to find a den site and not to put any pressure on her in any way whatsoever. So I'm going to just leave her be and see if I see her going towards a more open section. We might go around, but I don't want to stress her through a really heavy thicket, because like I say, it could potentially mean that she gets a little on the upset side. Maybe she panics and tries to move her den. So it's all about respect when it comes to these little den sites. Ali, you're wondering if could male lions protect the little cubs, or adult male lions? Ali, well, they do. They are protecting these little cubs every single day of their life. It's indirect though. They're not standing right here and protecting it from a direct threat like a hyena or a leopard or another lion or a snake or something like that. But the fact that they're out every night, they're roaring, they're scent marking, they're territorial, and they're moving around keeping other lions at bay, they are indirectly protecting those cubs. They're making sure that there is a safe environment for the cubs to grow. They're stopping other male lions coming in here, which would most certainly kill those cubs if they could. And that's how they're protecting those cubs, is being territorial, strong adult males. If they were in any way not like that, you'd find transient males would move in and those cubs would most certainly end up being killed. So it's a very indirect way of protecting them, but that's how they do it, is that they are providing a safe place for the Nkuhuma Pride to spend time. Outside of that, things like hyenas, snakes, birds of prey, leopards, those are all things that the lioness and the Pride is going to have to look after and make sure that she selects really good den sites and looks after them. But it's not something that, unfortunately, the males can control. The males don't spend that much time with the Pride because they are patrolling the territories and making sure the lions aren't getting in. That could be a danger to their cubs. And you can see, look at the sub-adults walking, how much bigger they are than those tiny cubs. Like I say, you'd think it's strange to wonder that those ones were the same size a year ago. We always think of our Nkuhuma youngsters as cubs, but you can see now that they're no longer in any way, shape or form the same size, or can be considered as in same sort of bracket as those other ones. Now, They're all grooming each other and turning into that Tamboti thicket. Seb, I'm going to go around. I want to see. I think there's a little gap on the other side. I remember tracking with Herbie in here when we were looking for the Nkuhuma den way back when we had that suckling female and Ali found that small little cub. I remember coming into this area trying to track those lions because there are a number of den sites here, so I know exactly where they could be using, and there is an open clearing that we can cut into without even hitting too many trees. So in fact it's right here, so this is where we're going to just go in a little bit because the rest of the pride is now all shifting and moving with us towards this area. So I just want to go in here. I'm not going to go too far and try and crash too much, but there is a little open clearing here and we might be able to see the rest of the pride as they come through. There's a number of fallen over trees though, and that's where they seem to be heading, is towards these fallen over trees. And it's, like I say, the perfect place for a den site. Here they are right here actually. I can see the little cubs as well. So there you can see the lioness with her little cubs are going to cross right in front of us. Hey girl, listen to them, you can hear them talking. It's the best sound. How cute is that? These little ones, there she goes. So she's walking. And you'll find the little one's going to come just in front of her now. Look how small it is in comparison. There it goes. Oh, careful. Careful, little one. Here comes another one under the tree as well. So they're slowly but surely coming out. Oh, you guys are cute. Hello, little one. Look at that. How special is this, guys? We are being absolutely spoilt. Here comes Mom. So Mom is on her way now. And she's going to lie hopefully right in front of us, because if she lies where she is now, we are going to get the most beautiful view of these cubs. She's just a little bit right of where that cub is now. She's sitting close to a fallen over tree. And here come the cubs. They're coming bounding to Mom. So they were going to Aunt, and Aunt was a bit upset. She growled at them a little bit. And so now she's coming towards Mom. You can see Mom's still got milk. There they come. Come on, little ones. Do you want to drink milk now? Is that why you're squeaking? How sweet is that? Look how cute these are, man. These careful little ones. Falling over more than we're actually staying on our feet. Look at this. Guys, what a privilege to be in a situation where we can watch 3 tiny little fluff balls filing past us one by one. Look at that. That's epic in every sense of the word. Wow. Beautiful morning light. Jumping over Mom. Oh no, guys. How cool is this? There we go. Up onto Mom. Mom is now a jungle gym, so Mom's going to jump. They're going to jump all over, play around and look for milk. How sweet. There is something about a little lion cub that is just so good. She doesn't want to suckle. She's not in the mood for suckling. And there she goes. Guys, so special. These must have been absolutely tiny when we first heard about them. That day that I followed the Nkuhumas and then they crossed back with the cubs. Those cubs must have been days old at that stage. Or at least only probably, I would say, a week or 2 old, because they're still very little. It's interesting though that she's introduced him to the pride already at this age. Seb, I'm going to roll forward for you because I've got a nice little gap here. So she's just getting into some shade. I think she was a bit uncomfortable in the sun. So we're just going to roll forward slightly and try and get Seb a nice view. The nice thing is that the Nkuhuma Pride is so used to us that there's no real worry about us and no real sort of frustration with us being here. So there's a nice view of the female. I'm sure the cubs will come towards her. Can you see her there, Seb? Is it all right? Okay. The interesting thing as well is that the sub-adults haven't come close to these cubs yet, or not that I've seen. I would imagine that they have greeted the little cubs and they've kind of looked at them, but it's not like the interaction that we saw when Ali had that little cub where the sub-adults were quite rough with it. And I think it's a very different situation. These two females are lying sort of between the cubs and those sub-adults, and you can see look at how the young, oh, there it comes. Hello, little one. Oh, trouble, that is 3 of them. The great thing is that they're just heading deep into Djuma, so the chances of us getting these guys for longer, or for the next few weeks, is so good. And it's just going to get better and better. The more mobile these 3 get, you can see the more brave they get, the more we're going to see of them, and it's going to be a very special time. Here come some of the sub-adults. Let's see if they're going to cause any trouble with the youngsters. It's part of being a young lion. You've got to deal with being bullied by your older siblings, and it's the way things go, unfortunately. It's tough life. But look, you see she's going to get up now, because look, she's growling at the sub-adults. Don't come any closer. These are my babies. You stay where you are. You're not welcome to come anywhere near my little ones. Already showing that protective nature, eh? See, look, she's growling a little bit. So she's just saying to those ones, you stay where you are, you don't come and lie too close to my young ones. I'm going to protect them. Maybe she's learnt from what happened with Amber Eyes, or what we think was Amber Eyes' cub. Nope. Little ones can be pesky when you're trying to have a rest and lie down, because they want to suckle, and she's not in the mood for suckling at the moment. They are so sweet. Guys, we are being so spoiled by being able to see them so clearly. This is very special. MKL, you're wondering if the lions get named like the other animals sometimes do. Oh, that little lion cub's got a bit of a bite on her, or a wound on her shoulder. It's not too bad, but that'll be okay. It's just a little small mark that it's got. MKL, no, the lions individually generally don't get too many names. The coalition members, so the big males, they do sometimes, because we see them so often on their own. But the prides get a identifying name, so the Nkuhuma Pride or the Sticks Pride or that. But the actual females very seldom get a name. They've got lots of blood on them, so I think they fed last night by the looks of things. There's blood on the front legs of some of these lionesses, so they must have got a small meal. I don't think it was big, but it must have been a small meal, and that's maybe why this female came to the cubs, is to actually just suckle them after getting a bit of nutrition. Oh, there they go. That's not your mom. Don't go that way. They're going deeper and deeper into a thicket now. Oh, look at the little one trying to climb on the other side. Oh, up you go. Drainage lines are tough work when you're a little cub. It's not easy to go up and down these banks. Listen to them. They're cute. You can hear Aunt is growling. She doesn't want these little babies anywhere near her. Nikki, you're wondering if this other female is helping out the mother. Well, not so much helping out. She's part of the pride, and there is an instinct to look after them. You will find that lions do allo mother their cubs sometimes, but that female there doesn't have cubs of this age. So it's normally when there's females that have cubs of similar age, they will help allo mother and look after one another's cubs. But in this situation, it's more just that the pride has met these cubs for the first time. The cubs are kind of wide-eyed at that there's a whole bunch of lions here and they want to see and explore and say hello to everybody and meet everybody, and so they just see females and they probably get a little bit confused as to which one is mom, and so that's why they go towards them. You'll see she'll growl at them. There, she's growling now at the cubs. She's saying, I'm not your mother, don't come suckle from me. you must go back to your mom. And mom is here closest to us. You can see that's mom now that we're looking at. The cubs are way in the background, but Seb won't really have a view of them. Unfortunately, it's a thicket up above there, and it's really difficult. So it's on top side of that branch is where they are at the moment. And here comes another female that's coming in. So this is a third female, which I haven't seen. She's coming from south of us, so I wonder if there's not the rest of them were lying just to the southern side. Here come the cubs, Seb. They're going to come back to this lioness by the looks of things. They're just underneath that archway there. You should start getting a view of them at some point, somewhere in that general vicinity. It's difficult. There's so many branches. So we obviously just sitting tight because I don't want to move too much around. There's lions all around us, and the cubs will bounce around. They'll come towards their mom. There goes mom. She's now walking southwards to where the cubs are. So we're not going to try and sort of stress them out and move too much. We'll just keep where we are, and hopefully we'll get good views of the cubs at some point again. And we've been spoilt already. I mean, we've had the best possible view we could have had when they paraded past us in a small line, and we had them out in the open, so we really can't complain too much about the sighting that we've had. It's been absolutely wonderful. It's been a really special way to spend a morning. I hope all of you have enjoyed it as well. It's not, like I say, there's something special about little cubs, whether it be lion or leopard. They're just the sweetest things. And to see the Nkuhuma Pride's cubs doing well, and that they're still happy and healthy, and it's such a dangerous time for cubs when they're so small, because there's so many threats out there. It's not just the lions that are a threat. There's snakes, there's birds of prey, there's all different types of predators. Even something like a caracal would be a potential threat to these lions cubs. And so when they're left on their own, it's stressful, and so for the first few months it's always the hardest time. Once they get to about 3 months and they're with the pride, things get a lot easier for all of them, and also for the female herself, because she can keep the cubs with her a lot closer. And you can see the rest of the sub-adults are now arriving as well. So there's a couple of them. So one of the young male, I think the young male is the one in the front here. I'm not 100% sure though. It's difficult now. They're also big and fluffy. There we go. Awesome. So special. Very, 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 very cool. Ryan, what you're asking, what age do I think the little cubs will recognize that they're lions? Now already, don't you know that they're the fiercest things alive? They're going to... No, I'm joking. That's difficult to say. I mean, I think once they're actively part of the pride and they watch hunts going on, and they actually see what the females get up to, and they start moving with the pride, participating in what goes on, that's when it kind of transitions. The sub-adults that we have now, they learned quite quickly that they were lions, because last year during the drought they were already participating in hunts at 4 or 5 months old, whereas this year it will be a little bit different for these guys, but they'll know soon enough. As soon as they start eating meat and they start watching the females hunt, that's when they know for sure that they are lions. As you can see, they're all moving up into the shade onto the other side of this drainage. I'm going to try just get round to one more spot that's quite open and get see if I can get a better view at this stage. Oopsie, there's a branch that just went up. Is that branch quite big there? Can I get past it? Okay. I forgot that we turned in a little bit to get in here. There we go. It should be past. Oh, there we go. Now I'm going to try get round somewhat to where maybe we can get a better view of what's going on, and try and negotiate this thicket without killing myself and Seb and Wendy. And while I do that, it sounds like Taylor McCurdy has joined us. The Mara is working, so let's jump across to there so she can say good morning. Indeed, we are with the lions, and it was a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful afternoon yesterday, and it was great that Jamie got to spend so much time with the serval. Brent was with the leopard, which I know makes him happy, so everybody got pretty much what they wanted, which was quite nice. Now our lions, we've just repositioned ourselves. We've come onto the other bank now. You can see they're all kind of spread out underneath the quarries. The little cubs are messing around. You can just hear the leaf litter as they're making their way up this side. They're down in the bottom of the drainage at the moment, and slowly but surely they are coming up and towards Mom. So we'll just sit here and be patient, and eventually they will come up this way. They're such cute little things though, and seem to be quite sort of into exploring already. Seem to be bouncing around all over the show at the moment and trying to kind of explore their surroundings. They're a little bit nervous of the sub-adults, and Mom growls a little bit when the sub-adults come close. So it's an interesting sort of way to or dynamic at the moment. I think everybody's just feeling each other out. But there are two lionesses that are not here at the moment, so I don't know where they are. Darlene, you're asking if I've ever seen a lioness protect cubs from being attacked. Well, yes, I have. I've seen lionesses often defending their cubs, even from each other. And sometimes lionesses that don't like other lions around their cubs, they come bounding in and attacking and growling and hissing. So I have seen it a few times, and also from males. So when, let's say, like the Birmingham males were here, this female might be a little bit more aggressive to those Birmingham males and stand her ground and hiss and flatten her ears and swish her tail and try and make as much of a noise as possible. So it's interesting to watch how they react to others, and it's amazing to see the dedication that they'll put themselves and the harm's way that they'll put themselves in to protect cubs. You'll find if it's new males to the area, then they'll fly in there and try and fight with those males as much as possible to keep those cubs safe. And it's even sometimes they sacrifice themselves and injuries to themselves to keep their cubs sort of looked after, which is quite amazing. It just shows you how much the mothers will go. But they're looking great though. Yesterday I didn't get to sort of look at them that well. I was too busy kind of dying of heat to really notice what was going on. So it's nice to actually look at them and see there's no real signs of mange at the moment. So the cubs are down here. This is where they are. Yeah, they're walking around in the thicket. I can see them underneath that quarry. What looks like a quarry down on the bottom there where it's green. They're moving around in that general vicinity. There they are. You can just see a little bit of movement in and around there. Hey little guys. Are you exploring? So Mom is just watching, keeping a close eye as they moving around and checking out what's going on down in the bottom there. Anna Marie, you're asking if lionesses can tell which cubs are theirs by their scent. They can, straight away. They know exactly which cubs are theirs by scent, by smell, by even eyesight. They will be able to recognize their own kids. It's much like us as people. You know, we get to know our babies and our family and very well, and it's the exact same with this lioness. You can see the two of them just staring. The mom is up and actually standing right here. She's just moving into the center of the pride. So I wonder if the little ones are going to come and join Mom. It sounds like they're just listening to her. There we go. And everybody's settled back down again. Come on, little ones. Come up. Come say hello. I think they're just working out what's going on. They can hear their mom moving around on top. Soraya, no, luckily not. I've never had lion cubs licking and biting tires like the hyena cubs do. They tend to be a little bit more wary of this big, great object. Also, Mom generally will call them when they get too close to a car. When they get to sub-adult age, so like the rest of them here, then they can be a little bit naughty. I remember the Mangan breakaway pride. Look at these two here. They're busy having a little moment. Two of the sub-adults. This one was staring into the other one, and they were sleeping on each other's paws. Hey guys, you can see that it looks like the young male on the right-hand side. What's going on? Look at that. Oh. So that's all bonding amongst these guys. Now I was saying that these ones will start getting naughty, and the Mangan breakaways, they were the ones that started to pull blankets off cars and bite on the shoes of the trackers, so they get a little bit more kind of brave. But the cubs themselves, when they're still that size, are quite nervous of a massive, great hulking vehicle like we've got at the moment. But these guys definitely fed of something, and when they were fed of something, they swatted at each other. You can see this cub that's closest to us, sorry Seb, has got a bite wound on its back as well. So that would have been probably from one another, one on the left. Yeah. So that one's got a little mark on the back there. I mean, that's just a little flesh wound and nothing major. But this is what happens when they fight over carcasses, particularly a small carcass. They must have grabbed something like an impala. You can see there it's itching it a little bit and scratching. But they must have grabbed something like an impala, because there's blood on some of the females and some of the sub-adults between their legs. So it must have been a small carcass, given that none of them are actually fully engorged and have big round tummies. So it must have been very small, split between all of them. But it seems like that's where the little cubs are going to hide, is in that sheltered thicket down at the bottom there. There's a few tree roots that they can go into, and that's where it seems everything is. Mom is still watching intently. You can see she's looking down into the drainage line. She's making sure her little ones don't get too far, and she's watching what's going on. Hello. Look at these ones here. Are you saying hello to us? Every now and then just looks up at us with this kind of longing look, as if to say, I'm so tired and so hot. I don't want to be awake anymore. Octo, you're asking, is there any difference between sub-adult and teenage lions? Well, sub-adult is basically referring to teenage lions. You don't refer to lions as teenagers, you refer to them as cubs, sub-adults, and adults. It's different to humans. There's no teenager word that's generally used with cats. It's, like I say, cubs, sub-adult, and adults that you use to describe their sort of phases of life, if you want to call it that. There's Angama is just putting her head down, young female in front with her watching her cubs moving around. Who have you seen? Maybe another member of the pride is slowly ambling in as well, because she's watching very carefully. I don't see any sign of the cubs coming up the hill. They seem as though they're still down, so maybe, like I say, there's another female that's slowly on her way this side. But what I think is that the other two females might be with the Birmingham boys, given that the Birmingham boys were making such a racket here at the lodge, and the Nkuhuma Pride is so close, and I think they might be with those two. And hopefully the female with the injury, is wherever she is having a nice rest and is not moving around too much and just giving herself a chance. And hopefully she also got some of that meal and was able to actually get some nutrition in that's going to help with her fighting any infections. They are looking beautiful. It's going to be another hot day, so they found themselves the perfect place to rest. I'm sure this afternoon they'll still be here. I'm sure the cubs will still be out and about with them. It's going to be very special to spend time with them. There we go. Mom, are you happy with your cubs? Izzy, you're asking the male from these sub-adults, could it become a coalition member if some of the tiny cubs are males? Yes, it's possible. It is a year difference, but it is possible. If you look at the Mapochos, the Majingalans, even the Birminghams, there was quite a big gap between some of them, and a year is not that far. Remember that these sub-adults generally are only going to be pushed out at 3.5 years old as males. So if they're 3.5, then the ones in the smaller grouping will be 2.5 and fully capable of looking after themselves and will be able to leave with the older male. So yes, they can still form a coalition member. The time frame is not too bad. If it was 2 years between them, then probably not. Then you would find a situation where the cubs would be a little bit too young to form a coalition with that older one. It would probably be pushed out before they were ready to leave mom. But in this situation, with only sort of a year between them, you'll find that these cubs should theoretically be able to stay as coalition members. And this male must hope that there is males in those cubs there that survives, because it's going to be a rough life if he's on his own and doesn't have any coalition members. It's really not easy to be a lion by yourself out here in amongst all of these big coalitions. So if you can get a partner or at least 2 brothers, that will help him drastically improve his chances of surviving and becoming a territorial male later in life. So it seems as though our little cubs have gone into a thicket where they're resting. The rest of the pride is starting to fall asleep now as well. Nobody's really looking too active just yet. So we're going to sit a little bit longer, see what happens. And while we do that, let's go to Taylor with a pig in a blanket. We are, and Taylor, I think Djuma misses you too. It's definitely quieter around camp over the last little bit. So it'll be nice when you get back in November time. It'll be very good. Oh, bless you. A little bit of dust in the nose. Back to sleep again. But it's all very sedate now. The little cubs are not moving around at all at the bottom. They are quite quiet now. I can't hear the leaf litter rustling anymore. So I think they found a little place to nap. Like I said, it is getting warm now. So I would imagine all of them are starting to try and find some way to sleep. Interestingly though, the lionesses are all lying in a funny way. None of them are lying like you would expect them to lie when they're going to pass out for the day, which is on their sides. All of them have got their heads over their paws and sleeping a little bit more uncomfortably. This one here is about to lose its pillow by the looks of things. Yeah, the other one was moving. Sunday, I haven't, fortunately or unfortunately, either way, I haven't seen a lioness with a mane in the Kruger Park. It's something that is very uncommon. And in fact, as far as I know, it's only rarely been documented properly in Botswana. I don't think there's been any other documented cases in South Africa. I might be wrong, but I've not heard of it in South Africa, and I most certainly haven't seen it. It's a very odd phenomenon to see a lioness with a big mane. It's very weird. It doesn't seem quite that right. I don't know. It's an odd thing to see. Not sure if I would be able to kind of recognize it straight away. It's difficult because the lionesses that I've seen with the manes in Botswana have proper manes. It's not like a young male. They've got really big, massive manes that are just like what you'd see on the Birmingham boys. So it's an interesting thing, and I don't know if we would ever see it here. Who knows? Maybe. It's possible. These things can happen. I have seen impala females with horns. We've seen warthog females with the extra set of warts. So these anomalies do happen from time to time, and maybe one day we will see it within the Kruger system, but I honestly have never heard of it in the Kruger system, nor have I ever seen it. It sounds like Tumba has disappeared from Twin Dams. Nobody can find him now that they're actually down in that area. And then it sounds like Nkanyeni and Tundi have both got kills on Torchwood. 2 of them on that side. Maybe Tundi went and fetched Tumba and took him back, although people have been with her the whole morning and she hasn't come towards Twin Dams. So interesting though that he's ended up at Twin Dams, and I would imagine that this leopard here at Gallagher must then be Hosanna if it's a young male that's moving around. So it's interesting that Tumba is the one that's still around Twin Dams, and that it's not Hosanna lying that side. Of course, it's just a report, so we don't know either one positive ID, so it could be the other way around, and people have just got a bit confused. But it will be interesting to see who has ended up staying around Twin Dams and who's the one that's been pushed off and has had to move somewhere else. Right, lions, I think that we probably might move on and leave them to their sleep because they really are very sedate now. Ooh. This is a tough one. Mama Pex, you want to know which one is cuter, or which one I think is cuter, lion or leopard cubs? Tough. I think this is, and this probably goes against everything that I normally talk about in terms of leopards being my favorite, but I honestly think that a lion cub is generally a little cuter, and I'll say, the reason why I say this is that I find that leopard cubs tend to be very slender and very thin, and their kind of heads look a little bit big, ears are a bit big, paws are a bit big, whereas lion cubs are just in proportion and seem to be fluffy and quite cute. And the thing about lion cubs is that they generally make lots of noise because there's more than one of them, and I love that about them, that they're quite vocal and quite playful because there's generally more than one. You know, with leopards it's often just the one on its own or just the two, and they tend to be a lot shyer and less interactive and less sort of visible when at the same age as what these lion cubs are. But they're both equally cute, I suppose, and baby leopards are incredibly special to see, and they really are an amazing thing. It also depends on the size, but you know, it's when the leopards get to that 3-4 month age, they tend to be a little bit skinnier and kind of everything looks a bit big for them at that size, and they're not quite as cute as the lion cubs. But prior to that, if they're the same age as these lion cubs here, they are incredibly cute. I actually have a photo of Tiani somewhere at the same age, so we can do a vote as to which one is cuter, and we'll do it on Safari Live. I just need to try and find it. But little lion cubs or little leopard cubs, it's difficult to say. I'm on the fence. What do you think, Seb? What's your thought? Because there is a leopard cub, so we can do... I'm sure there's some screenshots of the little lion cubs from this morning, and this is a leopard cub at a similar age to those lion cubs. Is it coming out or not really? It's going to be quite dark, but there we go. There is a little leopard cub at a similar age, so it's difficult to say. I mean, this is as cute as it gets as well, with those beautiful blue eyes. I think that's one thing about leopard cubs that they have on lion cubs, is that their eye colors are so incredible as cubs. They're either these blue or greens or bright oranges, and they fade a little bit as they get older, but it's difficult to say. I mean, that's just as cute as any lion cub that I've seen. So I think all baby animals are cute, but I suppose leopards being my favorite, let's just take leopards then. We'll be on the leopard side of life when they're that age. So there we go. Is there little cubs coming? Because I see the female's put up her head again looking. No. We'd hear the leaf litter of the cubs moving. I think they passed out. They've had a big morning. They've been with the pride. They're tired. And I think everybody else is going to start sleeping now as well. Mom is obviously just concerned, so she looks around just to make sure that there's nobody intruding and nobody going towards that den. But I reckon that we're going to be in a situation where everybody's going to start sleeping now. And the fact that there's no movement down in the bottom there from the cubs means that they're not going to come up here, and I think the pride is going to rest. So let's carry on and go and explore this morning and go see what else we can see and what we can find. I think I heard some ellies not too far from us, and it would be really nice to spend some time with some elephants. And we'll go past Gallagher one more time, and maybe we get lucky with that leopard a little bit later. It'll be good if there is a leopard somewhere there, and even some ellies will be good. But while we leave this sighting and carry on, let's go back to Taylor in the Mara.